how did the fucking like first humans think, let me inject some heroin into me? What did they think was gonna happen? How did they find out that feels fucking amazing?
Where he saw someone's face on the train tracks.
Oh no.
On the train tracks, he saw someone's like face had been sort of like ripped off. How do they cast these ugly people? Like, oh, by the way, you're a really ugly person. We sort of need you to play a monster in this film. I always wonder that. Do you know what I mean? While using the system, he became tangled in the rope and he died of strangulation. In a corner of the room, the television was still on. That is creepy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine you're the person who spots her. She's just dead in her fucking like sofa like that, and the fucking TV's playing like that.
No, but it's just a skeleton.
Let's get skeleton. I think we should restrain ourselves this episode. I think we should be very sensible.
You want to tie me up?
Stop! Already the jokes come in. Let's be sensible this episode. Let's be serious. Let's jump. Let's jump into serious
I haven't
stories.
got serious like factual stories.
Okay, yin and yang.
Okay.
I'm the dark side today, right? And you're the light side. Yeah, I should have worn black. So I wanted to test your limits with empathy, because you said a few episodes ago that like so on some occasions that you think you're a narcissist, and maybe it might be to do with the fact that sometimes you can't empathize with situations.
Yeah,
I've said that you're not a narcissist whatsoever.
Yeah, I think I've read from what a person told me. I think they sent me something. I was like, actually, yeah, I don't think I am a narcissist.
Yeah, like we've watched films together, and I can see, like especially horror films, where people are in terrible situations, and you sort of like cringe. You go, oh no, like that, and that's because you have empathy, you know, and it's because you relate to people, and you can put yourself in those situations. And I want you to indulge with these stories. I want you to immerse yourself in these few stories. Now, I have a few tragic stories, right? These are real life stories that have happened throughout history, right?
Okay.
That have really happened and have been backed up by a lot of people have been given shit about this show for like talking rubbish and saying that our information isn't real, right? Fuck off. Because it's actual true stuff, right? That's backed up by reputable news stories.
Okay, so at university you'd be asked to cite your sources. So I feel like when reading this information,
that's not my job. That's not my job.
Just say where you got it from.
It don't matter. Look it up yourself. If you're not fucking confident that I'm right.
I got it from Twitter at
Twitter's not a reputable
Monkey Guy 021.
No, trust me, right? All these stories are true, right? That have happened throughout human history.
How many are there? 3, 4?
There's 4. I'd rate out of 10 on how disturbing they are, how much they've like affected you, and how tragic.
All right, let's digest these. So stop every now and again, and I'll give my thoughts as we go along.
Okay. Now, you might know about a few of these. You might have heard about them on the news. Janet Veal eaten by her own cat.
What? Oh, I have heard this.
Did you?
I think she's like an old lady.
She was 56.
Yeah.
So a body of a woman who was 56 who collapsed and died in her home.
Wasn't it like they waited like 3 days and then the cat started eating her or something like that?
I can't even remember how many days it was. It must say here. Was gnawed and eaten by her own cat on her kitchen floor. Right?
Why am I laughing?
I know. Stop laughing. This is supposed to be a serious episode. Take it seriously. Like this is a real person.
I know, but it's the way you said gnawed. Like,
I know. This isn't me saying
like they're tucking in. Like,
this is a news article. This is Daily Mail saying that she's gnawed. Like, imagine like you're her fucking like daughter or something, and they're saying she was gnawed and eaten by her own cats on the kitchen floor. She was found at her isolated home in Ringwood, Hampshire. Right, there's some information there.
Right.
Neighbours raised the alarm after she had not been seen for some time. Home contained a number of dead animals, but others had survived. Parts of Mrs. Veal's body had been eaten away by her own animals. Inside, they found a distressing scene. There were a number of dead animals, including a cat and a dog, in the kitchen and living room, but others had survived. It is believed the hungry animals had begun to eat their owner after being left without food for months. This is the thing about cats, right? You think they're all cute and lovely, but like, you know, they will turn on you. If you die, they will start to fucking feed on you.
They get hungry.
Yeah, it's true. Every single cat will fucking eat you.
There's a movie like that, actually, where like this woman is like getting all like, stop getting
sexual.
No, basically, there's this man and the woman. They're like in this like little little like cabin in the woods that they own.
Yeah.
And like the husband ties her up. He has a heart attack.
Oh, I've seen that. Gerald's Game. Gerald's Game, Where they're playing like a sex game, and then she's tied up, and then she starts like imagining shit. And then the dog starts eating his dead body and licking his blood.
And then like
that's a really good
weird
film.
guy like who's like she thinks she's like thinking like making it all up, but there's this like prison escape or like mental
he's actually there.
and he's actually there, and he doesn't kill her, and usually like he would kill.
Yeah, so like this really tall like lanky guy is standing in the corner of her room. It's quite a creepy film.
That film took a really weird turn because like, I would never have thought of like
that it was actually
weird
real
looking guy to come at the end. I thought it was like, oh, someone will come find her, and like she's like eating her own arm to survive.
I really like that film, but yeah, I agree. And you know, like the really tall, lanky, like monster sort of guy who was actually real. He actually looks like a.
You're not real. You're not.
he actually looked like a monster, like in real life. And I think like, how do they cast these people? You know, like these freaks.
I can't lie. That freaked at the end to make me laugh. Like the voice, he's copying her voice at the end. Like, you're not real.
But how do they?
What is it called? Gerald's Game.
Gerald's Game. How do they cast these ugly people? Like, oh, by the way, you're a really ugly person. We sort of need you to play a monster in this film. I always wonder that. Do you know what I mean? Like when they play like, we need a fat character.
If you're getting paid for it, I mean, at first you might.
Yeah,
be like,
exactly.
Oh, I don't really want to. Like, you'd be hesitant. And go, right. What if we paid you a bit more? And then you might be like, okay, how much? And then like you're like, fine.
That's the thing though. Like, you know, like any problem that you have, you can spin it round and you can benefit from it. You know, some people, you know, look fucking weird, and then you know you got more casting opportunities. I remember like, this really ugly girl in this film. This is so mean because she's a real person, and maybe I shouldn't be saying this. But,
she's never gonna.
She was in this film Hereditary. You know that little girl in Hereditary, right? She just looks very weird. Okay, she's not ugly, but she looks very weird, right? And it's like they clearly casted her because of how she looks, and I just think it's so weird how it's such an awkward thing.
Yeah, but the casting call would have said like, we need a weird looking girl with like these features. And like the mum or dad, I don't know how old she was.
She was like 8 or something.
Oh yeah, then the mum or dad is if you like,
she 10 or something.
She could play that.
Yeah,
and if not, they can make her look weird.
I know, yeah.
It's like me right now. If I did like a middle parting,
and
like brought my top lip like inwards,
oh my god,
I could look like a really weird guy sort of thing.
This is really going off topic, but do you know do you remember the Don't Judge Me challenge?
No.
You don't remember the Judge Me challenge?
Oh, what, where like you'd fake a like spot,
and then you put all shit around your face, and then you put your camera, put your hand over the camera, and then you'd look all like nice.
Yeah, and it's like that song like, I could be your new thing.
Yeah. So cringy. I hated it. Did you take part in that trend?
Oh no, I never done that.
That was so cringy. Why? And then that was like one of the first trends that like really became like, I don't know, like one of those things where it's just like a constant like, you know, like it was even more than 2 weeks. It was like a few months, and it spins around, then it's something else. Remember that? No, the ice bucket challenge was the first sort of thing where people started like doing it for charity. Hiya, I've been nominated by Rachel and Catherine, and I nominate, and then they'd pour ice over themselves. Like that's the same thing.
What was it for ALS?
ALS ice bucket challenge. What was it? I can't even remember.
ALS awareness, yeah. But I think it lost its meaning.
Yeah, it was it's just annoying. I don't know why it annoyed me. But anyway, let's go back into the tragic stories, right? Yeah. So basically, this fucking woman, right? She collapsed in her kitchen and then she got eaten by her cats. And recording a death from natural causes, coroner Keith Wiseman said these animals had been, the officer thought, confined in these 2 rooms downstairs for what may well have been a period of many weeks, stretching quite possibly into several months.
Oh my god! And wait, she was dead for several months before they found her.
Yeah, and so that's why the cat started eating her.
4 days or something.
Yeah, that's why they started eating her, you know, because I assume in the first few days the cats are just sort of walking around her thinking what the fuck, and then like sniffing her a little bit, and then it gets into months, it's like, we're gonna fucking die, and like, look at all these other animals, they're dying, alright, we've got to start eating her. But like, it's so
why
fucked up. Why
didn't the dog fucking bark like non-stop?
I don't know, probably did. I don't know. I don't know how isolated she was.
What a stupid dog.
We don't know the breed of the dog.
Oh yeah, it might have been like a little chihuahua. Just
well, you're not. To be fair, you're not showing much empathy for this situation. How would you rate it out of 10?
Obviously, okay. What out of 10 of what? Like,
just disturbing, tragic, fucked up. Like, imagine that was your mum, that was how she went.
If it was my nan and stuff, how tragic.
That's terrible, isn't it?
I would. That's like a 8 or 9.
8 or 9 already.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I'd say like an 8.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? It's really bad. And this is a true story. Do you know what I mean? This actually happened. And you heard it on the news, didn't you?
I heard it somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe like Twitter or something.
Yeah, okay. All right, next one. Carol Joyce Vincent. Have you ever heard of her?
No.
In 2006, officials from a North London housing association repossessing a bedsit in Wood Green, which isn't far from us, owing to rent.
Is this going to be like something how like she died and her blood like seeped through mattresses?
Oh God,
I've
no!
heard stories like that. Okay, never
Not
mind.
like that. What, real stories like that?
Yeah.
Really?
Like, you know how you get crime scene cleaners?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I used to like listen to like stories of that, and like apparently there was one time like someone killed themselves and like they were on like free mattresses.
Oh God!
And like all they rotted into the free mattresses like, all the way down to the carpet.
Oh my
so
God!
It's like when they were cleaning it, is like
my God!
Keep it
what a job! What a job! I mean,
what a job! I'd love to
fantastic
do that.
job.
I'm joking.
My mum was dating a guy for a few weeks who had that job basically of like picking up after like, so you know when people commit suicide on the train tracks, they jump in front of a train.
Yeah.
His job was to like pick up after the remains, right, and like, you know, like put them into bags and stuff. Like there's nothing funny about it. And you're laughing, right? And he once had an experience, this is so fucked up, where he saw someone's face on the train tracks.
Oh no.
On the train tracks, he saw someone's like face had been sort of like ripped off.
Stop.
And this is a real story, and he was telling her about that. And like, you must be a disturbed guy to be numb to that sort of thing, for that to be your job.
I imagine your dream. Oh my
That's
God.
so, you know, it's so weird. But anyway, London Housing Association repossessing a bedsit in Wood Green owing to rent areas made a grim mystery. Lying on the sofa was the skeleton of a 38-year-old woman who had been dead for almost 3 years. In a corner of the room, the television was still on, tuned to BBC One, and a small pile of unopened Christmas presents laid on the floor. Washing up was heaped in the kitchen sink, and a mountain of post lay behind the front door. Food in the refrigerator was marked with 2003 expiry dates. The dead woman's body was so badly decomposed, it could only be identified by comparing dental records with an old holiday photograph of her smiling. I don't know how that works.
God.
That's really weird. How can you like...
I found the BBC One channel thing funny, but like that is
creepy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine you're the person who spots her. She's just dead in a fucking like sofa like that, and the fucking TV's playing like that.
No, but it's just a
skeleton.
That's so weird though. You know what?
And she was like
watching when like,
and the TV was on for those 3 years.
You won't even be able to tell how she died.
No, so basically, so yeah, she figured out. They figured out who it was through the dental records.
She died of boredom watching BBC One too long. I'd die.
Not a good advert for BBC One. According to the Housing Association, benefits continued to cover half of the cost of Joyce's rent for some time following her death. Wow. So that's why no one noticed, right? So she clearly was quite lonely. Initially, the association accepted these partial payments. However, after several attempts were made to collect the remaining balance, repossession notice was issued to reclaim her apartment. It is at this point in time that Joyce's remains are found. Now, I don't understand, right? Didn't she have a job or something? Didn't she have family?
Yeah, that's what.
Who were worried about her? Well, she must have separated from everyone.
Think about it like this: have you got any family that lives like quite far? That
yeah,
reached out
most of them
for
do.
like the last 4 months.
Yeah, but like I feel like they'd know after 3 years, or maybe half a year. I hope so. Anyway, you know, or like surely like she must have had a job. I mean, if she has enough money to cover like
how old was
a few years of like
she
was 38.
And this was in 2003.
Yeah, so she just must have separated herself
there's no
from
like
everyone.
social media. Well, yeah, there's not really social media around
That's
that time.
That's a good point.
So,
yeah,
you know.
So due to the lack of viable tissue, the cause of death could not be determined. However, Joyce did have asthma and a peptic ulcer. In fact, she had been hospitalised for 2 days in November in 2003 after she began vomiting blood. Either one of these conditions could have led to her demise. There was no evidence of foul play, therefore. The police ruled that Joyce died due to natural causes. Now, That is really, really disturbing to me. That story plays on my mind a lot because, well, for one, it's real. For one, for two, it's not far from us where it happened, and for three, it's like imagine living in that apartment and then discovering that for 3 years you were like living right next to someone who was dead.
I think for me, that's not that disturbing. I think when you think about it, there's a dead woman next door. Okay, that's disturbing, but like
her TV was still on, man.
Yeah. Okay, that is a bit weird. I would have thought like a power, like
you'd think it would go off or something, for 3 years.
I think that's the only disturbing part. That and how she wasn't fucking found for so long.
Yeah.
I'd rate that like a 4.
A 4 out of 10. Yeah. What the fuck? Because she wasn't eaten by her own pets.
Yeah, she just died. She didn't have family. TV somehow stayed on.
Yeah, I think so long. Okay, fair enough. I think
it's not disturbing.
I think it's more disturbing for the people who are living there. Yeah. I think they said there's a thing where it said that they started smelling weird shit in the. Oh, it's terrifying. I mean, imagine realizing that you were living next to that for 3 years. I mean, she was dead already, so there's nothing you could have done. But it's still terrifying. Okay, this is slightly different sort of vibe, right? Marcus Garvey Jr. was a Jamaican political activist, right? Have you heard of him?
I have actually.
Marcus Garvey Jr., Jamaican political activist. He was Have you?
Yeah.
You might know about this story.
I don't know where I've heard about him.
Garvey was a controversial figure. Some in the African diasporic community regarded him as a pretentious demagogue. I don't know what that means. Demagogue, and they were highly critical of his collaboration with white supremacists, his violent rhetoric, and his prejudice against mixed-race people and Jews. He received praise for encouraging a sense of pride and self-worth amongst Africans and the African diaspora.
Wait, was he a white man?
No, he's black.
Oh.
Amid widespread poverty, discrimination, and colonialism. In 1923, the U.S. authorities successfully prosecuted and convicted Garvey for mail fraud in connection with stock selling for the Black Star Line. Garvey served a 2-year sentence and then was immediately deported. So he's not sort of had like...
Wait, when was this? Because I think I learned about a Marcus
1920.
Oh, that's right, because I did history.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's quite an interesting guy. He's had an interesting life.
Yeah, I did African American history.
Oh, that makes sense.
USA.
It's funny that you recognise that name. Yeah.
So you've I think there's old laws and stuff and loads of movements sort of based around.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was an activist, so that makes sense. So, have you ever heard of premature obituaries?
No.
So basically, I'm
guessing I can sort of guess.
Yeah, like newspapers and stuff like that. Like when any celebrity dies, their obituaries were already pre-written.
Yeah.
Because they need to get it out as soon as possible. So every single person, every single celebrity, like that you can think of. Tom Hanks, he's already got a premature. He's already got an obituary written out in case he dies immediately,
tomorrow,
so that
they can just post it.
Yeah, so like news can like beat all the other competitors and get it out as soon as possible. Now,
there must be like a file with just like hundreds of thousands of like
fucking weird, isn't it? Now there are a few people that
that's going to be a pain if celebrity like changes their name constantly.
Yeah,
it's like imagine trying to search through the files.
Now there have been a few people who have actually read their own premature obituaries in situations where there's been miscommunication about their death, and like newspapers have got it wrong and they've put it out there. So for example, Mark Twain, Ernest Hemingway, P.T. Barnum, and Margaret Thatcher have all read their own premature obituaries. That's such a weird experience. Like imagine reading that up, your own death being published to everyone. Like, Wayne Deegan was died eating.
That's quite cool actually, because I feel like everyone would.
He was regarded as a narcissist.
That's the one thing I hate when like someone passes away and then it's like you get this massive wave of love and just like, we loved him and everything like that. Like, why wasn't that in the news
when he was alive?
Yeah, like
That's a good point.
No one fucking cared a week ago.
yeah.
Is everyone jumping on the bandwagon now?
And it's like, he's dead now, so it's a bit late. All these kind words mean nothing, apart from his family and stuff.
True.
So, basically, in January 1940, Garvey suffered a stroke, which left him largely paralysed. Now, his secretary, Daisy White, took on responsibility for his care, and he survived, right? At this point, people started spreading rumours of his death. So this led to many newspapers publishing premature obituaries in late May 1940, many of which he read. right? According to his secretary, on the second day of reading through his pile of obituaries, Garvey suffered a massive stroke and died 2 weeks later at the age of 52, June 10th, 1940. So he died reading his own premature obituary, which is just so fucked up. Like,
that's not really
can you imagine though if that
or anything like that?
Disturbing though, right? Tragic, right? Because it's like,
no, that's comical in a way. That's irony.
yeah, it is pure irony, isn't it? Like, I don't know whether it spurred on his heart attack, but it's a lot of like articles say that
panicking.
He kind of like suffered it while he was reading, like during this period where he was reading about all these obituaries while he was recovering, and that's what kind of spurred on his heart is
your blood pressure got so high. He was just like, what the fuck, why are they saying about me?
and he died. So I wouldn't say. I mean, I agree. I wouldn't say that's as dramatically like disturbing and stuff like that. But it's quite comical. I suppose because like it's in the 1940s, no one cares anymore. But like, so we can laugh about it.
I think the last one's more funny than like tragic or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't like.
You didn't know him?
No, I don't. I mean, I learnt about him, but fucking hell, I don't like know him or anything.
You didn't know about his death then? They didn't tell you about his death, or maybe you forgot?
It's just like I can't even remember. Like I just didn't do well in history. But
did you not? I thought you liked history.
I liked it, but it's just like.
Did you have a good teacher?
Yeah, but at the same time, it was a subject that I never wanted to do.
Oh, really?
So just like
I hated history until we had a teacher for like a 2-month period.
It was like,
who made me love it.
It was like I went sixth form, and it was like that teacher did my like admissions and stuff, and he's like, wow, well, let's not do this because this is more of like a harder subject. Instead, why don't you do history? And I kind of feel like she was making me do history just so like she could teach a course of the year.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So, like,
it wasn't like a genuine relationship between teacher and student, where it was like, oh, you should follow your passion. It's like...
So I did like history before that, but not like loved it, and so like I had an interest, but not a massive interest.
Yeah, me too. But and then we had a teacher who was one of these teachers that always goes off on
Mr.
tangents. No, it was someone else. And he would swear. He would get really passionate. It'd be like, these people were in dire situations, you know, we're grateful to be, you know, and he'd be like going off to, you know, off the paper and like forgetting really what the point of the lesson was. And I loved it, you know. It made you realise that these were real, true things that happened, because he was passionate about it. It wasn't just reading from like a textbook. He didn't just give you like, you know, papers to read. He was a really good teacher. But you know, it didn't convince me to study it.
That's why I hate like education, because it's just like it teaches you just to remember things, follow like a you know, a system, and not just like be passionate.
Yeah,
so,
like, good teachers make you remember why these things are important. So anyway, all right, last one. Okay. Now this is the sort of story.
Wait, I didn't rate it.
Oh yeah, what would you rate it out of 10?
As like tragedy.
Yeah, just like a tragic story. I mean, what a way to go, man. You know, he's had a bit, not an easy life, and then he dies like, reading his own premature obituary.
Have you heard that story of that guy who had like a threesome and he died after like
what?
Like a 10-hour threesome? He had a heart attack.
What? How did? I
don't know. It just,
that's not the worst way to go.
I know, but like
ejaculating is probably like the best way to go of all time, isn't it?
Do you know there's some animals that when they do ejaculate they die on the spot? Is it? I think like is it like bees are like one of them, and there's like some fish and.
Right, this is a situation where viewers who go, "Oh, you're talking shit," probably have a bit of a point.
No, I'm being deadly serious.
Oh,
but,
really?
That is a tragic way to go. So I guess like
because they serve their purpose. So as soon as they come,
reading it and getting stressed from just reading, that is a bit tragic. So probably about 6.
A 6 out of 10.
6 or 7.
Okay.
Out of 10.
All right. Last story. Thomas Midgley, right? Thomas Midgley was an American chemical engineer, right? He was a clever guy. In the late 1910s, he was working at General Motors trying to solve the problem of engine knocking, spontaneous explosions of the petrol mixture in an engine cylinder. In 1921, Thomas Midgley tried adding, I don't know how to pronounce this, terrestrial lead to petrol, and the results were astonishing. So he tried to like cut the cost in like petrol and stuff, you know, for cars. Engine knocking was eliminated by adding just 1 part per 1,000 of the cheap additive. For his efforts, General Motors was awarded a number of patents directed to this new leaded fuel. The new additive was marketed as ethyl, which is the word lead being conspicuous by its absence. Ethyl was an overnight success and quickly became the standard fuel for the mid-20th century motor car. So I wonder if they renamed it ethyl because they knew that people would be suspicious about if it was called lead, you know. Because you see like, you know, fast forward to now, like everything says like unleaded as if it's like a good thing. And this is why, right? Almost immediately the additive had its critics. The harmful effects of lead were well known in the 1920s. Even the Romans understood that water carried in terracotta pipes was preferable to water delivered by lead plumbing. So basically a lot of people were saying this is bullshit. Lead is not a good component for petrol. It's bad. A number of universities and research institutions wrote to the newly formed Ethyl Corporation warning of the dangers. In response, Midgley staged a press conference in which he washed his hands with terrestrial lead to demonstrate how safe it was. He was very wrong. What Midgley hadn't told the press was that several workers at the plant producing terrestrial lead had fallen ill from lead poisoning. 5 of them sadly died. Midgley himself had succumbed to lead poisoning and spent most of 1923 convalescing in Florida. This news article loves very big words. I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing it means recovering. Over the following decades, the evidence of the harmful effects of terrestrial lead began to mount. It was discovered that the average American living in the late 20th century had 1,000 times more lead in their bones than their pre-industrial ancestors. This was directly linked to the introduction of leaded petrol. In addition, it was found that these high lead concentrations were associated with lower IQ and increased behavioral problems in children. More shockingly, several studies showed that exposure to high levels of lead during childhood is associated with higher levels of crime, particularly violent crime in adulthood. So that's something to do.
That reminds. It's like everything has a knock-on effect. Like I remember in history. You know how like abortion in like Roe versus Wade and all that being like overturned and debated in states and everything.
Yeah.
Like I remember that in history we talked about that a lot because we talked about like women's rights as a subtopic. And it's like when you look at abortion, like whether it was like legal or illegal,
yeah,
and then you fast forward to crime statistics. So when it was like legal abortion, you'd have really low crime statistics, and then as soon as it became illegal, 10-15 years later, you'd have really high crime statistics because you'd have all these children that were just unwanted by their parents, like they couldn't look after them, like families that just didn't have the money, so you'd have all these like kids, 20-year-old stuff that grow up. I was looking at someone on Twitter earlier on, it reminds me of this, but in Singapore, I didn't realise that so it made me think of this because like human bodies and stuff, but in Singapore everyone is an organ donor. And if you opt out, you put it to the bottom of the list. How do you feel about that? Would you like something like that incorporated in England?
Bottom of what list?
Of the transplant list. So if you opt out, you put it to the bottom. So if you need the transplant, then you're like, no, you opted out, so you're not going to get a kidney unless like someone else.
That doesn't immediately shout to me unethical. That makes sense. But it's still not right. In the UK, because you should have your own right as a human being to decide to opt out of that.
It changed in the UK, I think, that like everyone's on the transplant list.
It is pretty crazy when you realise how much things have a knock-on effect. I mean, this was discovered
tragedy. I'd put that like a 2.
This isn't finished, man.
Oh, is it not?
No. You know, like the cerebellum and the prefrontal cortex. I'm not sure which one controls like antisocial behavior. It kind of governs it. So like, you know, like sometimes you have tendency to have antisocial behavior. Either your cerebellum or your prefrontal cortex sort of controls that and regulates it to say like, you know, chill out, stop it, become, you know, be civilized, right? Now the thing with lead is that, you know, it was coming into people's systems. People were it was in their bloodstreams because it was just suddenly this guy created this invention to try and lower the cost of petrol, right? And it just then created this massive. This guy had the biggest effect on the atmosphere of the world more than anyone else, because all of these cars started releasing this shit fucking lead, right, in the atmosphere, in the clouds. People all around the fucking world were breathing this in, and it affected fucking crime rates. This is unbelievable because, you know, the lead breathing in, and when it goes into your bloodstream.
Tragedy now, that definitely goes up.
Yeah. In 1940, he Thomas Midgley contracted polio, right? So after all this shit that happened, right, he then contracted polio, which left him severely disabled, right?
Why are you giggling?
Because it's quite funny, right? Ever the inventor, he devised...
And you have a go at me whenever I laugh at
it's
flipping stuff and not being empathetic.
1940. My mum wasn't even born then, you know. Ever the inventor, he devised an elaborate system of ropes, pulleys, and hoists to get him out of bed. So he had polio, and he invented this system that, you know, helped him, you know,
and he sold
get
that
out of bed.
And then flipping loads of people
in
died
1940.
from that as well.
That would be funny. But in 1944, while using the system, he became tangled in the rope and he died of strangulation.
So it's funny because he basically like
fucked himself over. Yeah,
he killed a lot of people, ruined a lot of lives, and like
and then he
built something to kill himself.
Yeah, it's quite poetic, isn't it? Sadly, this time no one could save him from the invention, and that's how he died. His own invention killed him.
Oh, that's not tragic.
I'm sorry, but that sums up tragic. How is that not tragic?
That
is the most tragic guy I've ever read about in my life.
8-year-old girl getting cancer and passing away.
That's tragic. No, tragic.
That's a tragedy. So much life unlived.
You know why?
He fucking lived his life, spoiled millions others, and now he's dead.
To be fair, he made a lot of money. You know. I mean, look, he was only trying to help people. You know, he didn't know. You know, people make fucking mistakes.
So as long as your intentions,
he wasn't
are good.
going. Yeah.
So what you're saying, as long as your intentions are good. So if a paedophile rapist say like, oh, I only meant to make her feel good.
No, but
his intentions were there.
All right, would you rather be hurt by someone on purpose or by someone on accident? Do you know what I mean? You know, someone on accident, right? Or someone you know on accident, or someone you don't know on purpose. It's clearly the person on accident. You know, intentions matter. He wasn't setting out to fuck people over and create more serial killers.
Someone by accident could have like all your limbs removed. Someone on purpose could just be hurting you, just so you, like.
What are you talking about?
Because if someone on purpose, like, I don't know, gave me like a flesh wound, just something that would heal easily.
What? Yeah.
I'd prefer that than if someone
I'm talking about
cut off all my limbs.
You're such an idiot. I would give that a 10 out of 10. I'll give that a 10 out of 10 in tragic.
That's
you know what's tragic is because he was trying to help people, you know? He was trying to lower the cost of petrol.
That's not a tragedy.
And then he
died. He was a moron sort of thing.
He was a clever fucking guy, man. He was a clever guy, but yeah.
Yeah, you can be clever, but a moron.
No, hindsight is 2020, but yeah, I mean, I agree.
His sight's not 2020, mate. You couldn't see all the fucking wrong he was doing.
It's funny.
Joking, he probably didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah. So what's the worst story that I read to you there? I mean, the most tragic. Let's say tragic and disturbing.
So yeah, lady dies on sofa watching BBC One.
Yeah. 3 years wasn't found. Woman eaten by her own cats. Guy who had a heart attack reading his own premature obituary. Guy who just fucked, created the most biggest fucking effect in people's mental cognition and started like a whole spread of like, a spike in like serial killers all over the world, and then died by his own invention.
What was the third one again? It was
guy
Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
I'd say woman eaten by her own cats.
Yeah,
that's tragic.
Tragic.
I think tragedy is more like, like a heart paining thing.
Something that makes you really
feel and empathise, sort of thing. Like it was a tragedy. The young couple died, like that sort of thing. Like and the fact, like But then again, no one cared about that old woman. No one checked on her.
That's tragic, isn't it? I think the fact that she wasn't found for 3 years. Actually, I mean, the other one was only a few months.
Marcus Garvey, because he was an activist trying to give change, I'd say that was a tragedy because he was, making change in America. So I'd probably give that.
Okay, fair enough. So there you go. They're the tragedies. That was a sensible conversation, wasn't it? I mean, the thing with tragedy is that I actually think that, we laughed at a lot of these stories because tragedy is quite funny. And I think in British culture especially, tragedy is quite funny.
Like for English A-level, I read like tragedy sort of playbooks.
Yeah.
And they can be funny.
Like the whole Romeo and Juliet thing.
Yeah.
That she poisoned herself before he woke up. That's funny, man. That is actually quite funny. Do you know what I mean? But it depends on your humour. I mean, I think that like the most funny things for me are the things that have I think there's some there's a truth in tragedy, you see, and I think that's what British people celebrate.
Why have I forgot?
More than Americans.
What the play is about? The Three Witches and.
The King. I can't remember his name.
No, it was
Macbeth.
Macbeth.
Yeah.
That's a tragedy, but it's funny. In ways.
In ways, yeah. I could never in English literature, which I actually enjoyed. I never liked Shakespeare stuff.
I think it's just.
Did you like it?
No, it's the way you read it and stuff. Like there are like funny parts to it because when it's done as like a play, you see all the funny parts. Like when you have a woman that doesn't want to, like Macbeth, like. So his wife, like when what does she do? She kills like
I can't fucking
one
remember.
of the guards or something, and then like she starts fucking seeing blood on her hands and going crazy and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, if you did that as a play, you'd probably find that part funny.
Yeah.
She's like going all mad and like, does she kill herself?
I think she does. She definitely dies. I can't remember what happened. See, you obviously weren't paying attention.
I wasn't paying. I forgot.
Did you? Were there any? You know, in English literature, were there any stories? You know, books that you were made to read in the class that you actually kind of engaged with and enjoyed?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, there was one book that I did get emotional at and like actually.
What was that?
Shed a tear at. The Kite Runner.
I've never heard. I never watched. I never read that.
Khaled Hosseini.
Lord of the Flies, I remember quite enjoying. Do you remember that? Lord of the Flies, you weren't read that? I didn't ever really like any of the Sherlock shit or anything like that. And the thing with Shakespeare is I just didn't like that you had to kind of like learn this new language to kind of like wrap your head around the stories. I was just like, I can't be asked for this. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's ignorant of me. Maybe I'd be a little bit different now. I don't know. But at the time, I think I was just like, I think it was just the stresses of just like, you have to. You know what? I hate that. Where it's just like you have to learn stuff. You know, if you're not interested in it, there's certain stories that you're just not interested in. You know, and yet yet you have to learn it because it's going to come up in your exam. And it's like, well, you have to have like this encyclopedic knowledge of this story
you've got
that you're
like,
not interested in.
You've got to make learning fun for you, sort of thing. Like, you know, I want to learn Spanish. I'd love to speak it fluently one day, and you've got to make it like fun for yourself. So you know, like I know how to say like my house is on fire.
What? You learn such random phrases.
Yeah,
when do you need to know how to say that?
Oh, because what if one day like I need to say I'm on fire? Help.
What about hello? How are you?
No, but I was thinking that I was like, if I need help and I'm in a Spanish country, I don't know how to say help.
Yeah, help is worth knowing, I guess. Yeah,
I just have to scream like in a scared way, like ah. Yeah. I don't know.
It's really funny because, like, in Spain, like a lot of people do speak English, but we went to some really weird area.
I actually
where no one really spoke English, and it was kind of
no. There's no. It's not like a massive Spanish speaking area. I actually saved the map.
Spain isn't a massive Spanish speaking area.
It's not a like.
You mean English?
Sorry, yeah, English speaking area. Sorry.
So all in Spain, all everywhere in Spain, because obviously there's certain areas of Spain.
Yeah, there might be like somewhere like Alicante. Where it's like. English,
more touristy,
English getaway sort of live there and all English communities, but you might have that like here in England, like you know, I think there's like a lot of I was gonna say Romanian sort of communities that I know a couple from where like I used to work. Just like you'd have whole streets, just like you'd walk through a whole street and you wouldn't come by an English speaking person really. Like blocks of flats, just like mostly Romanian people in there. But I had some awkward stories.
Right.
So first one is a confession of a small party, alcohol involved. Oh, so this person's obviously like 16, shouldn't be drinking.
Right.
Last week we bought some alcohol to get together. It was a small party with very few people. Not so surprising, after a few shots, a friend of mine got drunk and started pouring her heart out in the middle of a party, confessing about an unanswered crush she had on a boy. Painful. She gave a very detailed description of how handsome he was, how bright his smile was, how smart he was, etc. She seemed to have a real big crush on him. She cried for telling the story. She even blamed herself for not being attractive enough to capture his interest. It'd have been a normal confession, and I'd have normally consoled her like a good friend would do. The thing is, that boy is my boyfriend.
Oh no!
So what do you think's going to happen?
So did she know that she was a boyfriend?
It goes on, but what do you think's going to happen from here? She's drunk at a party. She's confessing.
Oh God, I'm thinking that maybe she's gonna confront her about the fact that she's
confront her.
Yeah, about she's be like, yeah, you know, you're talking about my boyfriend. He's mine.
How shocked are you so far?
How shocked are you so far? I'll give it
0.
A 2 out of 10.
Everyone in the circle knew that fact.
Okay.
And she didn't freaking know it. Oh! How embarrassing is that?
Yeah. So she didn't know that he was.
Yes, that girl. Everyone knows, but she doesn't know. Everyone knows, even the girl. Who, like, that's the thing. Like
that's less embarrassing.
She must know that the girl that's consoling her, that's her boyfriend. She must.
It depends how close friends they are. Yeah, I mean, you'd presume so.
Yeah, you would think so. That's what I thought when reading this.
Yeah.
She's a very good friend of mine, and I truly like her a lot. So she must know that's her boyfriend, sort of thing. I don't really mind the fact that she had a crush on my boyfriend and she didn't know.
Well, yeah, you can't have a go at someone for fancying someone.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you do? What would you do? Say if I really, really, really fancied your like girlfriend. I thought she was so fat, and like when I got drunk and stuff, I would be like, "Oh, your girlfriend! Like, oh, I just think she's so sexy and stuff like that." And like so
have you done anything, or are you just saying?
No, I was just saying how much I fancied her. Then and like let's say I knew that she was your girlfriend. And like every time I got drunk, I just sort of didn't care, and I just started saying how much I liked her, and like, how would that make you feel? Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't make you feel good, would it?
It made me feel a bit like.
Or would you be like, mate?
I don't know why. Not jealous. Bit defensive.
Yeah. You'll be like, all right, well, we're not hanging out.
I mean,
like,
because I don't want to be like a fuckboy sort of thing and like be messing about with loads of different people.
Yeah.
So like, if I have like one person that I truly admire, I'm gonna be defensive like, oh, I want them because I'm investing everything into them.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be. I'd be a bit defensive, like, okay, you can think that, but you're not having them, sort of thing.
And then what if your girlfriend was then like, oh,
I'd be pissed.
Let's do an open relationship.
Oh, fuck off.
No. Why not?
No, God.
Like, no, you know, like on Saturdays and Sundays,
no,
I have Vinny, and then for the rest of the week, I have you.
No,
so the majority of the time she's got you, but the weekends it's just me and her.
Fuck off. That's some Black Mirror shit right there.
People do it, man.
Yeah, but I'm not into that. Because then it's like, it won't be intimate. It won't be like you two against the world sort of thing.
No, yeah, exactly. Like your partners. Like, it's just like, oh, you're my partners on Monday through Friday.
It's a friend group at that point.
Yeah, you know, people have like rotas in relationships where on Monday they hang out with, you know, like a guy hangs out with Sarah. This, like, Tuesday he hangs out with Jolene.
We talked about this, like timetabling sex and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's just get it out. We want passion.
You never know though. You don't know if you tried an open relationship. You know.
I want my girl fighting for the badge, if you know what I mean.
You know what's really weird is that. No, I don't know actually. I wouldn't. It depends on the circumstance, but I wouldn't be completely. Probably would be, but I wouldn't be completely closed up on the idea of open relationships.
Yeah, because you've had an offer of it.
I've had a yeah, and I turned it down.
And you're sending this message out.
No, I mean I turned it down, right? But like,
as you should, because it's like that's not a relationship.
Let's say that you were in a relationship with someone and you both lived fucking miles away. So you're in a different country on the opposite sides of the world, right? And you hang out like every couple of months. So for those but listen,
I just wouldn't do that because then it's like, why are you even with that person that's far away?
Because you love each other, but because of circumstances and life, you can't hang out with each other all the time. So throughout those few months,
I just think that love you can't share, like sort of thing, because it's like you can't.
You can't love multiple people?
You can love multiple people, but what's the point of like being with them then? Like, because like you're that time that you're spending them with the other person, like you could be like talking or whatever to that, you know, person who lives far and connecting with them.
Well, what about this then? What if you have an open relationship with two girls who both love you dearly? And like it's like they live in different countries, and sometimes you go and see one girl, and then so you're changing your mind about it now, see, because you got the best of both worlds. No, because I'm have your cake and eat it.
No, because I'm thinking that's just like being a fuckboy.
No,
So
no,
what's
no.
the-
No,
like-
let's say it's more of like a, you both all, it's not like you're hiding it from anyone. You both have an explicit understanding that this is the case, that it's an open relationship that's been established, though each girl is happy with it. You can go and see Sarah on 1 month and then travel to the US or whatever to go and see Margaret or whatever.
No, because then it's not
And
like...
then and it's like you have you love them both. You both have an intimate time with each other. You all have an intimate time.
Okay, but like,
and then
going that distance to go see them is no longer like special or intimate, because then you have like loads of people. Well, not loads in this scenarios too, but let's say if it was like 5 that just wanted you like to be open.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know how I feel about it, man.
I wouldn't like it.
It's weird though that like, don't you think
Because it takes all the like the passion and like meaning out of it to go see like them sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you love them both equally,
and then translating it to like local sort of thing, that's just being a fuckboy. And it's like, you trust me, like there's no satisfaction from that. It's none.
Don't you have it though where like you're in a relationship and you love the person and then you kind of like get to know someone else and you think, damn, I could see myself with you, but I'm with this other person, and so we're in a monogamous relationship.
You're talking about yourself, aren't you now?
I'm talking about everyone. Everyone's been in that situation, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I think the idea. Look, don't get me wrong. I think a monogamous culture is important.
It always boils down to like experiences and stuff, because the grass might be greener on the other side.
Yeah,
but not always it is, because like I think it's just like the thing I'd always try and do in a relationship is keep that flame alive, because I think I've said it on the podcast before that like a lot of relationships, like 6 months down the line, they let that flame die out, and then it's just like it crumbles and like
and it's like, so what? All right, I've lost her, now I've got my other person.
What's gonna happen if you want to start a family then? Do like
that's the problem. That's the problem. Can you imagine? Like,
it's a headache. No, that's why I wouldn't like it.
Okay, so from Tuesday to Wednesday, this is your mother.
That's what I mean.
And then for the rest of the week, this is your mother. That's what. Yeah, for children. Yeah, it's fine.
Right, let's move on to the next.
All right, another awkward story.
I molested my teacher. Not clickbait.
What?
So you're shocked?
Not you then?
No, not me.
All right, someone.
I never molested my teacher.
Okay.
I was in geography class when I was about 15 years old, 5 years ago. And a maths teacher, who many young girls, not myself, had a crush on, was sat at the back of the class behind me, in the corner, just sitting in and watching someone else teach him. The lesson went fine, and when we were finished, we were told to stand, push on our chairs, and put our backpacks ready to go. The teacher also stood up behind me and was stood waiting for us all to leave. As I stretched my arm out behind me to put my backpack on, I rubbed the teacher, who was stood behind me, on his soft, squidgy dude part area. I don't know why I just put dick in. Yeah, just say dick. That immediately became slightly less squidgy with the accidental stimulation. I don't get that. Just a little brisk touch.
What?
Like,
yeah.
How long was that hand there?
yeah.
It went back and forth trying to get the backpack on. With the accidental stimulation of my 15-year-old hand. Instantly, I shot my teacher and, oh no, look.
There's a mistake.
Oh no, look, weird-eyed, apologetic, terrified sort of thing.
But he got
and he
hard.
shot me and, oh crap, I'm sorry, look back. Both our faces went bright red and we started to giggle. Oh, this is weird. Then they both started to giggle. This is really awkward.
No.
And we started, started to giggle. Why are they giggling to each other?
No, but the weird thing is that he got hard, man. He got hard. What the fuck?
And we started to giggle, followed by us both apologising for our inappropriate sniggering. For about the next 5 minutes, he covered his genitals in his laptop bag.
Oh my god!
We never spoke of the incident again. My friend looked at me, utterly confused.
Oh my... What? So, what the fuck? The dude's a paedophile, man. I mean, look. I mean, sometimes it's involuntary, right?
Okay, no. But
sometimes you just get hard, right?
I've explained this.
No matter who touches it.
I've explained this to people before, but like, when I say people, I mean girls. But like, do you know when you get like a comfort boner? Like, you're not like aroused, you're just comfort.
Yeah, I had a period of time at school where I would have a boner all the time. And like when it'd be like the bell would ring and you'd be like, all right, everyone gets up, and I'd be like, just 1 second.
Towards the end of the day.
Yeah, and I'd have to kind of like, slowly,
but
like push it down, like tuck it between my other legs.
Like, I was reading this thing like, if like a woman like on a man like touches their thigh, there's like this reflex, because like like thousands of years ago, like you'd be out in the fucking wild, man. A jaguar could come fucking eat you while you need to get down in business, come quick.
No messing around. No foreplay.
And I think that's why like some like men are just hardwired just like
to just do it
so
straight
easy.
away.
Yeah, just come within 3 minutes.
She's
like,
15.
Next time you're fucking, be like, I can't help it. It's evolution. There you go. But but apparently it's this reflex. If like a woman rubs you on your thigh, just their blood vessels, bang.
It makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, do you not remember? It's kind of weird though. Do you not remember at school, right, when we had non-school uniform day, where like girls would like come in and like wear like the shortest skirts ever and like stuff.
You were looking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, like you know, like even our age. Really short skirts, right?
Our age? What you're looking at?
Yeah, like, you know, like 14. When you're 14, what's that? Like
what ages were you looking at? What were you in, like year 11?
Stop trying to make me out as a fucking nonce. It was like our age, right? And like you can't help but see it, you know, when the girls are walking past, right? And like, you know, like fucking like, you know, skirts tucked up in their arse, right? Clearly like got their tits out, you know, they're just like it's kind of skanky.
Yeah.
So they would sometimes get told to go home because it was inappropriate, and then sometimes they would ask, right? They'd say, you know, why are we getting told to go home? And they'd be like, it's inappropriate. Now they should have just said
the teacher's looking now.
No, listen, right? They would say this isn't a joke, right? They would say, the teachers would say the reason why they had to go home was because it was distracting the male teachers in the classrooms. Now, of all the reasons to say why to go home, why would you use that? And this is a genuine thing. This happened at our school multiple times. That would the
surely, like it'd be better to say like it's distracting the male students. Don't say teachers.
Yeah, exactly. The male teachers.
You're basically agreeing you have nonsense.
I know, exactly. Yeah, and like every fucking school, for some reason has nonsense. Every single person I've met has paedophiles in their fucking schools. Have you met them? We had a PE teacher.
I have a story actually. So, oh god, if you ever watches this, so I had this African maths teacher in the school I went to before I went to the secondary that you were at, and his name was Mr. Okomadu.
You've name dropped him.
He sounded like an African warlord. He sounded
Mr.
so cool.
Okomadu.
Yeah, no, he'd be like
his voice as well.
Yeah, just like deep.
We had a few, in Oxford,
and he sounded cool, yeah. And he was like
a trailer voice or something.
I don't even know if I could it. Like, he just sounded like a cool African warlord.
Yeah.
And like he did sound a bit mean, sort of thing. And I remember there was this one time, like we were just in a math class basically, and he was there teaching, and for some reason he was just hard.
What?
And the reason why, I don't know why.
What?
I don't know, but the thing is, like, the only way he kept on like squatting down and looking at us, I leveled, like still standing, not like hands on the ground, just like hands.
Was
on
he
his,
teaching
like,
you
knees.
Anatomy? He was like, this is how it look.
But like he like squat down, and like I remember my mate James was like next to me, and he was like he tapped me and he was like, "Sir's got a boner, that's why he keeps bending down, like look at him when he squats down." But I don't know how we got, like, why
he's just walking around with a boner, and he was trying to hide it, so he clearly knew that he had a boner. What the fuck? The thing is, it's so normal. Like everyone I've met has had weird stories about teachers at their school. We've had so many weird, sort of like really in joke kind of like.
But I mean, like most
dark stories about like our teachers like shagging each other and like touching up little girls and all that stuff. Why is it such a normal thing? I don't get it. Is it just where we live or what?
I don't know. I think it's everywhere, to be fair. I remember like my college, like 2 teachers, their sex tape released like porn up and everyone saw it. But,
what?
Yeah,
my god!
That's basically
Look,
it.
I mean, if you're a paedophile, being a teacher isn't the worst job in the world.
But what is it like? The average male has like 3 or 4 like boners a day, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, so like, I mean, like, I definitely have like comfort boners like during.
What do you mean a comfort? But how do you describe
like,
a comfort boner?
You feel good, like you might be sitting feeling warm and it just
comes up.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. Actually, it's usually when
not, like, fully hard. It's like,
I haven't touched it for a while.
You could do.
Yeah,
but you don't let it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next awkward thing.
Next one. I was traveling with my boss to Al Kuwain, which is in Abu Dhabi.
Right.
We are 3 people, including the driver. So they pulled over Adnoc, which is basically a fuel station for restaurants, and they took away burgers and Coke and fries.
Right.
I just finished my part of eating, and everyone too. There were some fries. Everyone was eating from the same box, and it was empty. He put his hand in the same box to search for leftover chips. He got a piece and sensed it was a fry by pressing it, but he put it in his mouth and he started chewing. He's realised it's a fucking piece of chicken that the driver has already eaten and threw into the box. And he's had to start rubbing his tongue with his like sleeve and like yeah.
So someone had already eaten it and spat it out, and then he put it in his mouth.
Yeah. So
that's bad.
We're going to do some early Wayne's advice. Don't be a greedy fucking cunt, basically.
About what? What do you mean? Picking at eating other people's food.
Please calm down. You've had your lot of chips.
Yeah. Sometimes don't you think the world punishes you from your shitty behaviour? It's like the world is. It's like God is going. You know what? Fuck off.
See, this is
what you shouldn't be so greedy. Here's a sloppy bit of chicken.
This is what I tried to convince you about. Whenever I was like, God's real, like this, that, and like.
No, I just think it's like you know
karma.
what? You know karma, right?
Yeah.
I think karma is. It's
just like you doing something bad, someone else remembering that. So like.
Yeah, karma is.
If you're a nice person, everyone's gonna know you're a nice person. Sort of return the favour.
Exactly. Karma is only facilitated by human beings, not by some special power. Everyone knows. Like, if you do some shitty thing, people take notice, man. People are pay more attention than you think, and they will remember that, and they'll fuck you over again. That's what I mean by karma.
What did that fucking mechanic dude, that guy who sorted out the leads?
He ended up dying by his own invention.
He wasn't a bad guy.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah, true.
God sort of fucked him over.
yeah. You know? But then, like, let's indulge in the idea that God exists, right? Don't you think he's such a prick?
And he does exist. That's blasphemous to say he doesn't.
Right. All right. Okay. Let's say I believe in God, right? Okay. For the next 10 minutes, right? Okay. Don't you think he's the most unreasonable fucking prick you've ever met in your life?
What, for giving kids and...
Yeah, for that, giving kids cancer, right? Putting bugs, creating bugs that sole purpose is to grind into children's eyes in Africa. What the fuck's that all about? What is he doing that for? And just little things. You could boil it down to your own experiences, okay? Where things have happened that were so unfair, that didn't really make sense, that you didn't deserve, and yet still happened.
It's like that thing, like the world needs wars for like population to sort of stay down, sort of thing.
Really? Do you think that? Really think so?
Yeah.
Really?
Otherwise, like, I mean, it's like we still not major world wars, but we still have wars going on today where lives are lost, sort of thing. I feel like that sort of does alleviate.
It just kills all the unnecessary people. But who the hell are you to say? Oh yeah, like disease, you're worth dying. You're worth dying because we're overpopulated.
But it's like disease, sort of like, like it kills off like. People as well
to cull the population. Yeah.
But it's like if we were talking about like disabled people like 1,000 years ago, they have no hope, sort of thing.
So you think that it's necessary that there are that people die because otherwise we'll just be overpopulated. Like but then again, why didn't God just make the world bigger?
But that we
weren't overpopulated.
But that idea comes from like natural selection. So it's like like it's either God doing it.
What I find so funny about natural selection and evolution is that it's been, like evolution has been called a theory. How is it a theory?
But it's not. It's proven.
It's proven. It's like you can't argue with evolution. Like how can you argue with evolution? And yet they made a bit of a mistake there by calling it a theory, because now people can like tackle it and go, well, it's just a theory. It's not the truth.
Well, I
but
think
it's like clearly the truth.
There's missing links and stuff. But when you have like, I don't know. Like you can just see like the evolution through like skeletal remains and things like that.
Of course you can. If you have the eyes to see it, yeah, it's true. Absolutely, yeah.
What if it was all planted by aliens?
You never know. You never know.
I was reading or watched something on the news the other day of like a dinosaur or some old creature dug up from like thousands of years ago. I can't remember what it was.
What?
But really? Like, yeah.
And I heard it.
That?
Yeah. It's crazy. I can't remember. It was some sort of like, was it like the skull or some part of the skeleton that was dug up? And it's just like, how have we not found this already?
It's crazy. Yeah. There's a few stories like that. Like, there were like 2,000-year-old Roman swords as well found in a flipping cave.
Yeah.
I can't remember where.
Yeah, and you think about all the animals and the and shit that like newly discovered species of animals are still being discovered. I mean, apparently we've only really mapped out, I don't know the percentage, but a minority of what is known
it's
to
like
be discovered.
we've barely explored the ocean.
Yeah.
Who is it? Who's that old guy that narrates all the
David Attenborough.
Yeah.
How is he still alive, man?
I don't know.
He's a dinosaur
He's
himself.
like 99 or something. He was like, was it him that said like he'd prefer to discover the ocean's sea creatures and explore space?
Yeah.
Because we can see space,
Yeah.
but the ocean, there's a lot of it that no one's ever seen before.
Yeah.
Doesn't that like...
Yeah, that's true.
That is a bit crazy. Okay, fair play, like space, as in like, you can't see what's on other planets.
But don't you think if you... Okay.
You can see space.
You probably go out to space. Look, I've never been to space, so I don't know what's out there. But I feel like there would be more interesting and engaging stuff.
Yeah, it'd be more
here.
like visualize the...
it would be mind-blowing to go and see
It'd
space.
be visually pleasing and probably safer, because like when you go to the deepest parts of the ocean, like you have all that... In space, you don't have that pressure. Because like the deepest subs like can't...
No, the water pressure
human in to go down, whereas like, to go space is easier because you don't have the water pressure. It's just like,
yeah,
I'm not too sure what I'm talking about.
No, because you've not been to space. Have you? Yeah. You've not been to space either. But I mean, if you think about like 90,
I have in my dreams.
99% of species have been extinct now. That have ever existed have been.
But the
extinct
Earth's old,
and yet there are still,
the Earth's getting on a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little.
When do you think it's going to die?
God knows, in a couple billion years, hopefully.
God knows.
A little bit. God knows, only God knows. A little bit too late for my liking. I think it would hurry up.
Is that where we're going to get raptured and brought up to heaven or hell?
Yeah, who knows? Where the fuck is hell? Where is hell?
Hell on earth. That's when we get... I don't even know.
We're living it already. We're living it already right now.
What if this was actually hell, though? Have you seen the series on Netflix, The Good Place?
I have seen The Good Place, yeah. I mean, I've heard of it. I know what it's all about.
It's The Good Place, but there's tiny little things that are like going wrong. So it's like annoying. Like, it's meant to be
What's A Good Place? So is it like you go up and then it's just like a sort of simulation, is it?
No, it's meant to be
a real place.
Heaven.
It's a real place. But and then it turns out that they're...
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it, yeah. Yeah, you nearly did it. But that's what intrigued me about the show.
Well, they've kind of guessed it now. Anyone wants to watch it.
But yeah, a little bit too fucking late for my liking. I think the world should hurry up and end. I've already had enough of it.
I don't want
to
it
be
to
honest
right
by now.
Give me.
Let's do a few more things, and then let's just like nip it in the bud. I mean, we've had enough of it. Let's be honest, all right? I mean, all these awkward experiences and tragic events that happen in life. Do we really need any of that shit? Would it really matter? Would it really matter if it all just stopped?
I think we will end the world before it ends naturally. So I don't think we need to worry.
Really? You think humans are that much of a cancer on Earth that they're just going to that would cause the whole world just like destroying itself?
I remember like being at school and like them saying like, oh yeah, climate change is an issue and stuff. You're going to experience it in your lifetime, and we're in the middle of it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of sort of a bit of propaganda, to be honest. I think a lot of it is true. Don't get me wrong. We're doing some stupid things.
Like September in the UK, it's been fucking hot. And
I know. It gets worse and worse every year. Don't get me wrong. But like
this is record temperature for September, since records began.
I know.
We are experiencing it now.
We are experiencing it.
What do you think of ULEZ in the UK? So, little news story. ULEZ, ultra low emission zone in London.
Yeah.
Spreading out. Because basically we're being fucking stupid and not watching our emissions and hitting net zero. So they're basically making people pay to drive about in London in their cars that are like not economically friendly.
Right.
But don't you think that like that money should be sort of paid by like oil companies or gas companies, etc., and not because it's basically the environmental issues are being sort of passed on to us normal working people.
And it's not really
like we can't afford like new economical cars.
Yeah. So how are we really the people who are responsible?
Yeah.
And there are people manufacturing oil cars and stuff like that. It's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, hopefully, it'll be a long time by now, but like everything will be replaced by electric cars.
If I could, I'd have a Tesla and have a fucking solar
of course. I think everyone did.
Yeah.
But it's not as simple as that, is it? I mean, money is involved. Money is a thing.
The government give me fine, sure thing. Government,
Exactly. I mean, look. I mean, we tax the things that we want to discourage. like smoking and shit like that, and it's just it makes sense.
No, yeah, but if you really wanted to discourage it, you'd make it illegal. But like, it brings in too much money. Like, I can definitely see
absolutely.
Drugs. I can see certain drugs becoming legal in the UK just for tax purposes.
Yeah.
Like, it's so evident.
Absolutely, yeah.
So evident.
That's so true. Yeah, it's like either make it illegal or shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah.
Because like you're still making a shitload of money out of it. So is it really that ethical? Yeah.
It's like, I bet vapes now. I bet they would have a tax on them, and like soon they're all gonna become grey, black, or white. They're gonna have little images on them. Just like,
yeah, but you can still buy it
in 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
But buy it still.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But then again, if you're like some small fucking like family business who have just started like manufactured like I know it obviously probably wasn't with vapes.
We've just made fucking 600,000 red ones. What are we gonna do? And they've got all colourful pictures on them.
No, but let's say that, you know, you create something, okay, that's like selling fucking millions, right? But it's really bad for people. But you're just making a shitload. Like it's you know, it's kind of like a moral dilemma there, isn't it? You know, it's the same with the lead poisoning guy. You know, I mean, it was affecting people terribly.
Would you keep on doing it, or would you say?
I mean, look,
but even if you stop making it, someone else is going to jump on the train.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna get, and then you're all going to get a spring of like fucking thousands of competitors, like what has happened with vapes.
It's like all those movies when,
even if you
scientists make something that they think could help the human race.
No.
But then they realise, oh shit, this was a mistake. And even if, because they've already created the idea, and it's already been made, you can't uncreate it now. It's out there in the world.
Yeah. Because you get people who get the idea that, I mean, that's the importance of patents.
How did the fucking like first humans think, let me inject some heroin into me? What did they think was going to happen?
I mean,
how did they find out that feels fucking amazing?
Like, but how was it even created? I don't know. How was heroin created?
Fuck knows.
You know, but all of these things that we all just do take for granted now. There was one person who trialed it and then killed themselves and fucked up.
But some caveman had to like. How the fuck do they find weed and think, this made me feel a bit weird.
Yeah,
I like this. What were they thinking?
I know.
They found a leaf and thought, let me smoke this. Let me burn it and inhale it. What were they thinking?
It's weird. Is there anything that humans haven't done yet? We've all just fucked around with everything, don't you think?
So what?
Now, I tell you what I think is that we're in this era now where we're all just pissing around.
People on YouTube pissing about and they find something like new and then they think, oh fuck, this is good, you should try this.
No, yeah. The weirdest thing, like, oh yeah, if you drink some cough syrup and you sniff some glue at the same time, you get some really weird high. It's like we're all so fucking desperate to feel something different. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing that happened with
why has evolution made us like that sort of thing? Like,
I don't know.
Did some early
because you know what? We're curious people.
True.
You know the Neanderthals that came before us that were all a lot shorter, and they were too scared to travel overseas, so they all died and died out. No, listen, we as Homo sapiens, we were better than the Neanderthals. You know why? Because we had curiosity to travel overseas and discover new fucking parts of the planet, and then we survived. Our curiosity as human beings is what's pushed us forward, and technology is a great example of that. You know,
I've got a nice story to sort of end on that I heard, I think from another podcast, but it's quite relatable. There was this zoo and they did a study on some. I'm not sure if they were apes or monkeys. I'm guessing they were apes. Basically, there was a banana at the top of the rope, but whenever one of the like apes tried to climb the rope, they'd all get like jet washed by like water, and it hurt them.
Oh, okay.
But not the one climbing.
Right.
So all the others would like pull them down, hit them, and stuff like that.
Okay.
So like all the apes in there at the minute would know not to climb the rope. Then like they'd introduce a new ape. And they'd have a reward, and they'd like beat them, and like so they keep on like switching them around. So the new apes coming in would know not to climb the rope, otherwise they get like hit and beat and stuff. I think it got to a point where apes were like removed, but like none of them would like climb the rope out of fear, but they didn't know from what fear. Because like before they even got jet washed, like these monkeys were pulling them down, beating them, telling them not to climb the rope. Mm-hmm. But like it got to a point where like these apes weren't curious anymore to like climb the rope, because they know if they climb it they're going to get beat.
Punished,
but they don't know why they'll get beat. So it's like
Pavlovian conditioning, isn't it? It's the same guy who condition. It's basic conditioning. It's like if you condition a dog to associate the sound of a metal and
it's
pole
like
being slammed with getting fed. It's the same sort of thing.
We sort of have that through like, when you make a hot tea, you accidentally burn yourself, and then like from then on you're like cautious with that sort of thing.
Yeah. And that's what it means to be insane. It's like if you like you don't learn from the past and you expect a different outcome with every experience. So you put your hand on the hot stove and you go like that, and then insane people will try it again because they don't realise, they just
want to feel something.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, what would be the moral of this story, of this episode? Humans want to feel something. We should celebrate our curiosity as human beings because that's what drove us forward in technology.
Try being empathetic. I think like don't be sympathetic. No one wants to feel like I have sympathy for them.
What are you talking about?
No one wants anyone to feel sad for them. Some people do. Don't you think? Have you been for a shit experience? If someone felt sad for me, I'd rather someone empathise, feel with me, not feel sorry for me.
Tragic events, we should all read them, and we should take lessons from them. Okay, because
don't watch BBC One. You'll fucking die.
Maybe if you don't have any friends, you should probably get some because you
if you tell the postman like knock on my door, and if I don't answer, don't even just say
key under the mat. You should know a few people. You shouldn't be that lonely because you might end up being also eaten by cats.
And be careful when you're putting your arms through your backpack if you ever use one.
What?
To not brush, a teacher's cock.
Oh yeah.